Yeah. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome back to Walking Against the Current. Try to put the little club music with it. Right,
Got
all
to get it
right.
right. Got to get it right.
I hear you. I hear you. All right. So thank you for joining us tonight. We are so happy to be back. One of the holidays is down. We're down from Thanksgiving,
That's
and now
right.
we have Christmas to go.
That's right. That's right.
And I'm excited to hear about how your Thanksgiving went. I mean, I think ours went really well. Well, you wasn't with me, but I think ours went really well here in our local state of South Carolina. And we had lots of family come over, lots of friends come over, and we even had some special guests show up. So for that reason, I thought it went really, really well. And everyone pushed through um their issues, I guess I can say, make it really simple. Everyone pushed through their issues, and we all just kind of had a really peace night. And we even put a little reggae dancing in towards the end. Shout out to my granddaughter Lizzie. She was really upset she wasn't able to perform because she was so ready to do her infamous dancing for us.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
unfortunately, somebody was out of town.
Yes. So he was out of town for Thanksgiving in Indiana. Got snowed in Indiana, but it was a blessing to spend time with family. Nevertheless, I'm just grateful. My grandmother, my aunt, and my cousin was involved in a car accident out there in Indiana.
Oh,
The car flipped over, and by the grace of God, they all walked away. You know, so it's a blessing. It's a blessing, to say the least.
yes, it was. When you gave me the news, I was like, oh my goodness, they was just eating breakfast together and lunch together, and then
Hmm.
just in that quick, that accident occurred. So it just reminds us how quick things can happen in life.
That's right. But listen, tonight's topic, we are talking about parenting, the blueprint that builds us up. Got to get right for the youth, man. So last week, one of my brothers, Mike Holmes, we asked y'all to give us a topic on what we should talk about. And he was like, I want to hear about parenting and for the youth. So tonight, we're diving into how parenting shapes men and women for the future, not just in childhood, but how we show up in relationships, careers, faith, conflict, and even how we raise our kids,
Mm.
because that is so important, especially in today's society. For what I do, for what you do as well. These young adults need our guidance. They need our help. They need structure. They need examples. They need something that they can go by to show them how to be better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. They need role models, right?
They need role
They
models.
definitely need role models, and we are our children's first role models. So, not just our children, but even our grandchildren. You know, they look up to us for what we do, what we say, and how we move. So that's extremely important. How we behave in front of them, what we say, what we do. It's extremely important.
Absolutely. So I want to jump into like, where did we learn us?
Oh, that's good. But first, let me give a shout out to Michael for giving us the topic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Give a
Thank
shout out to
you.
Mike for sure, for sure. So where did we learn us, right? Let's talk about that real quick. And for example, as me, I learned a lot from my mother and my father. I always give them a shout out on here, my family.
Ooh.
We learn from watching our parents. We learn how to communicate by how the adults around them communicate, which is really important because me having children, I think it's super important how I communicate with my mother, with Sharonda, with my sisters, my brothers, my friends, because my children are mimicking and they're mirroring the things that I'm doing as a person, as a father, as a leader, as a husband. All these things, my kids are watching how I intertwine and how I conduct myself with people. So I think it's important that we also get that right.
Oh man, you like I said, you are your children's first teacher, and mothers. I do believe that we even have a larger role because we're the nurturers. We're teaching them. We're typically the ones that's doing story time and all of those things that are really impacting our children's lives. So, not taking away anything from the fathers, but I'm just saying that God put on us the nurturing piece. So we are our children's first teachers. So it is important how we, even our temperament and how we handle stress. It's important how we respond to stress. It's important how we use our tones because, like you said, your children are constantly mimicking our behaviors. So a lot of times, and not all the time. Let me just say that a lot of times, what you see, and you're like, I don't really like that. Unfortunately, sometimes it's kind of what you put out there.
That's so true because I know, like for me, and if my cousin's watching Anthony, or my brother, my, my father was really, really disciplined in how he did certain things, and we couldn't, with my mother, I could wake up on Saturdays and be in pajamas all day.
Right.
But my dad didn't play. He didn't play that. So it was like you had to wake up, brush your teeth, get fully dressed, and sit down in case you had somewhere to go.
Right.
And one of the things that you also taught me in him was never get in your bed with outside clothes on.
Right.
So that's something that I have instilled with my children. Like if you go outside and come back in, you're not getting back in the bed with your outside clothes on. You got to take a shower,
right.
because of germs and not walking around the house with your sneakers on. Take your shoes up at the door.
Right.
So all of those things that my mother taught me, I instilled in my household with our children as well.
That's so true, And one of the things I purposed, I always tell my kids is to, I remember there were times when we would go to the fair, and I was one of those parents that we was going to go to the fair till the lights turned off because you spend so much money there. And I remember when my young girls was there, and they'd be like, "Oh, Ma, I just can't wait to go home and get in the bed." I was like, "What bed?"
Right.
It could be 1 o'clock in the morning. You're going to get your butt in that shower,
That's right.
So that's, and it's so funny how you see, like you said, the patterns of your, you see the influence. Like I see it with my daughters now with their children. I see how they act. So what we do really does matter, good and bad.
Yeah. I mean, even down to emotional stress, right? How to handle pressure, how to handle conflict, even how to handle money, because all that intertwines in what we saw growing up with my mom and my dad and my family, and that same thing exists with my children watching me and Sharonda and like the people around them, how they handle money. So I think it's so important. That's one of the reasons why we bought Monopoly money and we gave our children chores. Look at my daughter's looking at me now.
Oh, she's giving you the eye.
We gave our children chores to where it's like, hey, if you got to clean the bathroom or clean the kitchen, we want to pay you a Monopoly money. And use Monopoly money to go buy the snacks that you want inside the closet.
Right.
But it's teaching them finances because now that they have to spend their Monopoly money to buy snacks, well, guess what? Now my kids was counting money the other day. They got $2,000-$3,000 saved.
Oh my goodness.
In Monopoly money.
Wow.
Because they don't want to spend their money to buy the snacks. So it's teaching them now about how to save.
Right.
And it's crazy because it's like, hold up. Y'all got all this Monopoly money. Y'all don't want to spend it to buy snacks, but you want to spend our money in real life to go buy the things that you want.
Right.
Crazy.
But you're teaching them something. So basically, when parents affirm their children, it teaches them confidence, right? That's something that's important. And when you speak words of negativity, like you're stupid, you're dumb, those words don't go nowhere. It stays with them into adulthood. You know what I mean? I've met people that's adults now that have shared with me that certain words that parents have said to them is absolutely still ring in the back of their head. And they feel like they have to constantly prove that that's not the truth. So it's important what we say to our children. And I wish I could be on this mic tonight and say, I've always said the right things to my kids and you guys are so smart. I mean, I did tell you that.
yeah, you told us that.
And I've said a couple of other things that, I don't want to put myself on, my mic sounds nice. Check one. Did my mic sound nice tonight? I want to keep it that way. But the reality is we're humans, right?
Yeah.
So there are times when you want to say the right things to your children for the most part, but then there are days when you've had your full and you are human and you may have said the wrong thing that wasn't necessarily the right thing.
So let me ask you a question.
Uh-oh.
And I want to ask the audience this question too, and it's very imperative to this topic that we're talking about. Did you grow up in a house where people talked about problems or avoided problems?
No, my mom never talked about problems. My mom was very private, Like I didn't really understand that until I got on my own. My mom just really sheltered me a lot from understanding what bills were, light bills. I mean, you just knew never to touch that thermostat in my mother's house. But no, I didn't know. My mom didn't talk about it at all.
Hmm. Well, I'm gonna ask you this question: Did you talk about it with us?
Did I talk? Yes, I talk. Listen, you got that right. Turn off my lights. Bills got to be paid.
Yeah, you know, I could say that you definitely gave me the real growing up
Yeah.
about bills. You know, I remember being 16 years old and I had my car, you know, and I had liability, and you was like, you want to drive, you want to pay for your own car insurance,
Right.
you know. But just those little tidbits showed me how to pay bills. You know
Oh,
what I'm
yeah.
saying? Showed me how to put stuff in my calendar to know that this is due on this day, how to allocate my funds to say, okay, well, I gotta make sure I have money for my car insurance. And, you know, and once upon a time you had me to partially contribute to the electric bill, I believe. And you know what I'm saying? But you're just giving me small action
Little
steps,
nuggets,
little
yeah.
baby steps to show me how to be a young adult, how to be a young man, to make sure I know how to adequately pay bills, you know?
Absolutely. I remember when Cece and them was growing up too. They just loved. I mean, I don't know why kids want to use paper towels for everything. So I remember thinking, okay, y'all are working now. Paper towels are now on you. You know what I mean? You buy your own paper towels. Guess what? They wasn't using it the same.
Exactly.
You know, use it the same way when you have to buy it. So you just have to teach them those little life skills.
And I see y'all in the comments, you know, what's up, y'all? You got Angie in the comments. You got
Yeah.
Mimi in the comments. What's up? What's up? Let me ask you this that's listening on all platforms. What's the one thing you got from your childhood, right, that still affects you today, for better or for worse? Let me say it again. What's one thing you got from your childhood, right, that still affects you today, for better or for worse?
I see my daughter says something. What did my daughter
She
say?
said, yes, I had to pay for gas money for work and dress nice for appointments, etc. Waking up every Sunday to clean. Yeah.
Sunday or
Oh,
Saturday?
I'm sorry, Saturday.
Okay.
Saturday. Yeah, and that still applies at my house. Every
Yes.
Saturday we clean in the bathroom. You know, it's cleanup day.
Yeah.
My kids know we ain't doing Nathan until the house is clean.
Exactly. And my daughter's correct. You know, you have to wake up and learn how to clean. And when she started making money, put some gas in the car. Don't just expect me to put the gas in the car, so that you learn those things. She's absolutely right. And dressing up, you got it right. You got to show up and dress up for the occasion. Absolutely correct. That you learn those things, because some people don't even know how to dress up for certain occasions. So you have to teach that to your children. But getting back to your question, for better or for worse, what I learned as a child. One of the things that I feel I really learned from my mom is how to shop. My mom was really frugal with her money. She made sure that when things came on sale, she bought enough. And so to this day, that's how I shop. And I mean, I don't think you guys have ever, think about this, in your entire life, ever went without toilet tissue, paper towels, dish detergent. Like, you imagine running out of dish detergent in my house?
Yeah, if that happens, I know that the Lord is coming. You know, because
So
that's never happened.
yeah, so laundry detergent and all of those things. And it's so funny. My ex-husband said to me, it wasn't until we got divorced when I even knew that I had to go shopping for detergent. He had to learn how to do all of that, because he didn't have to do all that before. Because mom taught me really young, or taught us really young, how to really shop. That really impacted me. Like, even when things were hard, we didn't feel it, because when things were good, we bought enough.
Right.
And that's important to do. So just because something, I told my daughter-in-law, I said, look, when something's on sale, don't just buy one, buy like three,
Right.
so that you never run out. I mean, and that's kind of how I live my life even to this day. When money's rolling in good, when money's not rolling in good, if something's on sale, I sacrifice and buy enough so that, God forbid, something, a hard time does come, we don't run without.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for
Or
me,
do without.
I think for me, the one thing that affect me, good or bad, like you said, is just my voice sound deep on here.
All right, Barry.
What's up? No, it's playing. Well, Mimi said keeping stuff clean. I kind of have OCD with germs. Okay. I think for me it's the same thing. Like, just those skills of knowing how to shop, knowing how to keep the house clean. On Saturdays, having a cleanup day. Walk around the house with your shoes on. A lot of those things, I think I carry through with, you know, my children, our family. It's one of those things that I truly enjoy. I thoroughly enjoy because now it's showing them a routine. But when they get older, you know, wash clothes, fold clothes, put them away. You know, don't walk around tracking dirt. Don't get in your bed with your outside clothes on. Take a shower at nighttime.
Right.
You know, just all those things. Wash your sheets. Wash your pillows. I mean, some people know how to wash their sheets, man. People do not wash their sheets and their pillowcases. I don't understand that.
And there's a routine. My kids will all tell you, and I'm sure I got two of them on tonight, that when you get any type of symptom of not feeling well, that's the first thing we washing.
Yeah, wash your sheets, spray some what you call it, disinfectant. Open up your windows.
That's right.
Let some fresh air come in the crib. You know.
Yeah, so those are the things that we learn, right?
But people are not taught that.
Right.
People
So
are not
again,
taught
it
that.
goes back to what impact are we making on our children, good and bad? That's a great point.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this. Well, not you. I know you. But anybody in the comments, I want to ask y'all this: who raised you? Was it your parents? Was it your grandparents? Was it the neighborhood? Or was it survival?
Mom definitely raised me. I know. I would say mom definitely raised me. And you said, what was the other one? Survival.
Yeah, was it your parents? Was it your grandparents? Was it the neighborhood or survival? Because some people like survival raised them.
Right,
You know, you
right.
hear stories like DMX. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I know you love DMX.
I do.
But you know, like hearing his story, like survival. You know what I'm saying? Being in the foster cares. You know, people like that.
Right.
You know that wasn't fortunate to have the nurturing home that had to get it out the mud per se. And some of them are doing really well, and unfortunately, some are doing really bad. But it's just like, you know, I think it's important to understand who raised you, where you get your morals, your values from.
Right.
So I'm just curious to know for y'all out there, like who raised you, and it's not a negative or positive
Right.
answer. It's just
I'm
curious.
definitely going to say I feel like my mom definitely raised me, but I also feel like my great grandmother had a huge impact in what shaped me in my life as well. Yeah, because I have such great memories of my great grandmother, my aunts when I used to come down here as a child for the summers, and I really feel like that shaped me, you know, for my future today. Because I feel like I had an even balance. Like I had a good city life, and then I had good little country life too for the summers. So I definitely say that my family in the South, as well as my mom, I feel like raised me because it definitely impacted who I am today.
We're getting mom. Okay. I feel I survived mentally by myself, me versus me. My mom tried, but I kind of didn't want the help sometimes. Okay.
That's so true.
Okay.
And I think I wanted to just jump on that just a little bit because isn't that true that sometimes our lives get so busy as parents. Sometimes I think that sometimes we can forget, you know, sometimes your children, that was going to be my next question, but I think we forget sometimes when our children are going through and how I was raised, you know, my mindset is get up and push through life, you know, and there are times when some children maybe need more. So maybe my daughter needed more. Sorry, Mimi.
Well, I think it's some pros and cons to that, you know, because my whole life, you know our motto, what would the slaves do?
What would the slaves do?
You know what I'm saying? So it's like when I'm going through tough times or trying to pass an exam or going through any type of adversity in my life, I'm like, you know, it's not that bad. There's somebody right now going through something way worse. There's somebody losing a child, somebody dealing with battling cancer. You know, there's always somebody that would trade my life with theirs.
Oh yeah.
You know, so when I'm going through adversity, I think of stuff like that.
Right.
And then I'll think about watching my mother, you know, work jobs and do certain things to give us a certain life. I watch my father hustle and do things to give us a certain life.
Right.
And then knowing my family history now, talking to my grandmother who's in her 90s and talking to my aunts who came here from Liberia, Africa. They came here with nothing.
Right.
And to know their stories and know how they came here, how they lived back home, dealing with the war,
Wow.
you know, dealing with the war, watching people die. This, you know what I'm saying? Growing up in that type of environment and then coming to America, putting themselves through nursing school. One of my cousins, I was talking to her, who was in Indiana, and I was like, "Cuz, you know, you're a nurse now. Got a beautiful house in Indiana, and she has an older son and a son that's about a little older than Leah." And I was like, "Was you a nurse in Liberia, or did you come here and get your nursing degree?"
Right.
She was like, "Nah, I came here pregnant with my son, and I put myself through nursing school.
Wow.
You know, I had to work and bust my butt, and we all lived together in one house as a
Wow.
family,
Sacrificing.
sacrificing." So when I hear stories like that, it's not that I don't have empathy for people. It's not that I don't have concern or compassion. But when I hear stories like that and I'm around people that's in my circle, that's in my environment, that's pushing through those type of adversity and storms and still getting the job done, it's hard for me. It's hard for me to stop, right? People are like, how you be doing? It's hard for me to stop because I got too many examples around me that's done it, right?
Good.
And then it's hard for me to have certain compassion with some people who just make excuses.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's not saying your situation is not real,
Right.
but like Jim Rohn said, you're not a tree. So if you like the situation, pick up and move. Right?
Ooh, I like that.
A tree is rooted and planted. So if you're not a tree, pick up, change the situation, and move.
Oh, that's powerful because when you do lift up the roots in the tree, most of the time it dies. So
It dies.
right.
Right. So we're not trees. So we have the ability to pick up and move. If you like your situation, change it. You know what I'm saying? And you said something years ago, somebody told you something, and when you was a teacher,
Oh.
you said a lady told you,
When you get
What'd you
sick
say?
and tired of being sick and tired,
Yeah.
you change it.
when you
You
get
do
sick and
something.
tired of being sick and tired, then you'll change.
And that was profound. That was it. So how important, let me ask you this question. How important you think it is for a mother's nurturing hugs and kisses to a child? How do you think that impact them? You know, do you think children need that? Because certain cultures are not big on that. Certain cultures are not big on hugging and loving on kids and giving them lots of, what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word when you're loving, kissing?
Compassion,
No.
TLC,
Well, that's another one. Affection. That's what I'm looking for.
affection.
So certain cultures are not big on affection. So how important do you think it is for a child, a parent, a mother in particular, to give a child that hugs and kisses? How important do you think it is?
Hey, y'all like, share, comment, hit at highlights, at followers. Let's get some people. Let's get this word out.
Yes.
Definitely is worse, but not dealing with emotions sometimes makes things worse in the future. Got to deal, heal, move on. That's deep. Thank y'all so much for commenting.
Yes, thank you.
I think it's super important for a mother or father, or
Okay.
parent, to show their children affection.
Okay.
I for one have to do better with that. With my children, I think sometimes we get so busy in life and
Right.
get tired and frustrated. But I think it's so important to show your children affection, to give them hugs and kisses, to be more intentional with doing that. So if that's something that you don't do, try your best to be more intentional in doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Don't beat yourself up for it.
Yeah, don't beat yourself up for it, but do it. You know what I
Because
mean?
it's never too late. Like, I actually heard somebody say something to me the other day, and it was just so sad. They said, if my mother was to hug me and tell me she loved me, I would feel weird.
Mm.
She said it would feel so foreign to me if my mom would just hug me and kiss me. And I thought, oh my God, I don't ever want that to be the case with my kids. You know what I mean? Can you give me a hug?
Yeah.
Like I want that affection to be so real with my kids, you know what I mean? And I for one think it's extremely important to show your kid love. I think we as humans, I'm not going to get into the science of what hugs do, because there is a science behind affection.
It
A
is.
real science behind affection and the power of a kiss, the power of a hug. And we can talk about that another night, but it is important to give those hugs and those words of encouragement. Like, it's okay. It's okay. Like, my son had a situation at work the other day. He was really upset. And I said, hey, sit in it. I need you to sit in it. I need you to own where you made a mistake. Not this son.
Yeah, not me. Listen, let's be clear. Okay? Not me.
He made a major mistake at work, and he was ready to run and come home. Now, I could have easily picked him up, but I said, no, sit in it and own it and learn from it, right? Learn from it. And I told him it's not the end of the world and you're going to be okay. And I just used a very somber, quiet voice. I didn't say, what'd you do that for? I knew he was clearly upset. I knew he was really feeling overwhelmed at that moment. So I just encouraged him. I was like, hey, just sit in it, because you have to teach your children how to persevere, right? You can't pick him up every time something goes wrong, even though he's an adult. It doesn't matter. You got grown people out here still calling on mommy and daddy to pick them up,
Right.
So it's important for us to say, hey, let this be a life lesson to do your checks and balances. And at the end of the day, son, you're going to be okay. You got this.
That's right.
And that's all he needed. He was like, okay. And he pushed through the rest of the day. But if I had yelled at him or said, you're so stupid, why didn't you check it? What are you, a moron? You know, if I had used those words, that wouldn't have been helpful or fruitful at all.
Right.
So it's important how we respond to our children as well. Even as adults. I mean, you still look up to your parents as an adult. You still look for your parents' approval as an adult. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes, my daughter says she will never need no one to show her love. I guess I mean love, right? When she witnessed enough at home through me and her father. That's beautiful.
Oh, man, that's beautiful.
Yes, my mother doesn't give any emotion, so I changed that with mine. Love that.
Good.
Okay, we got Ms. Woods on here. Sister Woods on here. What's up, Sister Woods?
Oh, my God.
She
Shout
said,
out.
well, here goes some hugs and kisses for you, Elizabeth and Lawrence, from Mom and your grandmother.
Oh, I love it. Hugs and kisses all back.
I can't imagine not being raised without experiencing the love and affection that I received from my mom and family. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, because parents aren't always going to be around. Yes, that's so true.
That
That's
is so true. Thank you guys for your comments tonight. It means so much to us to know that you're here with us and you're listening. So that means a lot. And I'm so excited to hear Sister Woods on tonight.
I know.
That's all the way from New York
Live
City.
from New York.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah. I love it.
And you're right. And I love what somebody said. I don't know who said it. I heard you read the comment. She said she didn't experience it, so she was determined not to make the same mistake. So she changed the cycle.
Yeah, and you have to change the cycle, because if you don't, then what would happen is you would end up repeating the cycle by doing the same thing that you did not like.
Right.
Like there's certain things in my parents that I don't like and that I love, right?
Right.
But there's certain things that I realized from my mother and father that I have picked up. I have
Good and
picked
bad.
up good and bad, and I'll be like, oh my God, I'm like my father.
Right.
You know, or I'm like my mom in a situation.
Right.
And it's not, listen, we all human, right? There's things that my kids say they don't like about me, you know. And I tell my kids sometimes, listen, I don't like you. I love you, but I'm not liking who you're becoming. I'm not liking your attitude. I'm not liking how you're talking to me. I'm not liking how you responding to me.
Right.
Right. But I think having that, one thing you always did with me is have real conversations.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, we didn't say the birds, the bees. Like we used the real terminology that I would hear in school, and that's real.
Right.
That's real,
because you're gonna hear it.
You're gonna hear it. So we always talk real talk. Like
Right.
you know, it's so crazy because now that I'm a grown man, you know, I find myself like I don't cuss. You know.
Yeah. Okay. I know.
Well, I don't
funny.
use no profanity around my mom.
Yes, I got to tell you, my kids are really good about holding it. And they got it, honestly. I wish I can say I didn't use those words. Can you put a sound effect there? Because when I get really...
Well, I'll make sure I hit the right one.
All right, hit the right one. When I
There
get
you go.
really mad, boy, I go forward.
Right.
So I'm working on that. I'm a work in progress with that. But I will say you don't use profanity. I know you do, but you don't do it in front of me.
She said, I know you do. How you know?
The kids tell me. And my daughter-in-law tells me.
They talk. They lying. They lying on me. They lying on me.
I just said that about Mimi. I was like, Mimi, I've never. Now, have you heard Mimi cuss?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I have never.
I know she on here watching too.
I know.
I heard you cuss before me.
I never heard, but one day I was outside and Sammy didn't know I could hear him outside, and he was playing the game. He was like, I was like, what in the world?
Yeah.
I'm about to choke right now. I couldn't believe he can cuss like that. I was like, man.
You better not be cussing. Oh, for real. I got my daughter in here watching. That's who's working the cameras for us, y'all.
Yes.
But nah. So here's something I want to talk about, like what parenting teaches men versus women, right? I think it's so important that we understand this and how it shapes men and women today. Because me as a father, you know, we're raising a young boy and we're raising two young girls. You know, so everything that we do, they're literally watching us. But how parenting shapes men and teaches responsibility. They model how you treat women. You know what I'm saying? That's very important. It shapes confidence or insecurity.
Yes.
Based upon how you acting as a man, as a father. It defines what strength means, i.e. a healthy or toxic relationship.
Okay.
You know, you hear people say sometimes as they get older, you should have divorced dad.
Right. Ooh,
or
yes.
left mom. You know, why'd you stay so long?
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes we think as parents staying is going to help breed the children, make them better. When in actuality, it can make them worse.
It can make them resentful. Yeah.
Because now if you're in a toxic relationship and you're arguing and fighting, now you're showing your children that you stay in mess.
Right.
If it's abusive, you know, not saying that God can't heal and fix and none of that stuff, but if the situation is egregious to where you're fighting and bleeding and or even emotional, you know what I'm saying? Emotional stress.
Yeah, so if mom is sad every day or dad is sad every day, that affects the children.
Now you're showing the kids that it's okay to stay in something like
Right.
that. And then the kids get older and tell you, well, why'd you stay?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? What else I got down here?
And sometimes they lose respect for you.
Yeah, they do. They do. Influences how they handle emotions. Now that's the men aspect of it, right? From the women aspect, as a mother training your daughter, it teaches self-worth and boundaries. Influences how they expect to be loved, like we just talked about, right? It shapes the nurturing style. Now, you know, we both love Louis Farrakhan and Nuri Muhammad and how they teach how the woman is the first love, the teacher for the children. You know what I'm saying? So it shapes the nurturing style. It impacts the independence versus dependency.
Right. Right.
You know, a lot of females today becoming so dependent on men.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It used to be the INDEP. Am I spelling it right? Independent. You know, remember that song? But a lot of females today are becoming dependent. This new society is, you know, I need $10,000 a month. I need $5,000 a month to do X, Y, and Z.
Right.
There's no more love. Everything is a transaction.
Ooh.
You know, and defines what stability looks like. A woman can define what stability looks like for her daughters.
Right. Okay. Oh, that's so very true. That's deep. That's really deep. So let me ask you a question.
Okay.
If you had to give advice tonight to the world, because the world is watching, what are some of the nuggets that I did, and I'm putting myself on the front street, good or bad, that you thought shaped you? Give just some examples that you really cherish now. And I'm not just talking about cleaning. I'm talking about some of the things that we did that you can say, oh man, if you could just close your eyes and think about little Lawrence when he was a child, what were some of the things that I did that you really felt really helped your life?
Oh man, let me close my eyes. What are some of the things that you did to help shape my life? Well, as a kid, my mother always worked jobs to where she could be available for me. You know, there was never a time in my life, even through high school, that I never felt that if I called my mother, she wouldn't be there. So that's important.
Almost shed a tear on that one, but that's true.
Yeah, that's important to have a parent that's dependable. You know what I'm saying? And you always work jobs to where you could come up to that school, good or bad.
Yes.
Because she came to that school when I messed up, you know. And she came to that school when I did good, to have my back.
Right.
So that was important to know that, you know, no matter what I did, good or bad, no matter what I needed, I knew that my mother was going to be there for me.
Right.
You know, and that's always been the same thing to this day. There's nothing that I can call her for. And if she knows I need it, there's nothing that she won't do to, you know, help me get that. You know, you just made yourself available time.
Right.
You know, we played games a lot, you know, growing up. You know, we didn't have a lot of money growing up.
No.
But, you know, you always, like I said, made yourself available. We went to the park a lot.
Right.
We spent a lot of time going to museums, going to a lot of free things.
Right.
Because New York had a lot of free things, you know what I'm saying? Like exhibits and, you know, art and different things that you would expose me to, African art and artifacts
Right.
and reading and doing book reports on, you know, people. And just now talk about Mansa Musa and talk about all these people that you taught me about when I was, you know, my kid's age,
Right.
8, 9 years old. I was learning about Mansa Musa, learning about the Panthers, and learning about all these different things that you was exposing me to
Right.
at a young age, to where people in today's society is just now talking about it.
Right. Right.
You know, and you talking about 20 years ago, you was exposing me to Black culture, exposing me to what that looked like.
Right.
You know, so
Yeah, I was big on the museum. You're right.
yeah, out of everything I would say that I just said, the biggest thing that I learned from you was time, right? And not to give up.
Right.
Like, don't make no excuses.
Don't make no excuses.
And I think that's what affects me today, with friends, with, you know, even in marriage. You know, me and Sharon go back and forth. I'm like, oh, you're making an excuse. You're making an excuse. You know? and it's just because the way I was wired.
Right.
You know, even with my friends, they be telling me, I'm like, bro, you making an excuse, bro. Like, there's no way you talking about you can't do this. Like, come on, bro.
Right.
You know, and it's just the way I was wired, you know.
Right. What do your sisters say? Are you answering that question, Mimi? What do you think you learned from me and that you can teach your children? I mean, my daughter's on tonight. Finally, she's on.
Right.
She better be on every week. What did she say? I can't read it.
Rashawn said, this is deep. Come on, speak. Thank you, man. I'm talking about our culture and importance of confidence and skin color. And also, yes, and always being available. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's true. Always was available. They know when they call me, I'm was going to be right there. I'd be like, I got to go. And so my summers was important to me. So that's why I purposely worked jobs that I can be available, because I knew my kids would either have to end up in camp or sitting in somebody's house. So I always wanted to be home for the summers with my kids, so we can do so many different adventures together. And like you said, it wasn't always something that you had to spend a lot of money for. You can go to the park, you can go to the museums. I was really big on art. I'm still big on art, but you know, different things. You remember we went to the museum, we made some African art. We kept it for a long time. We had a tissue roll. You remember that?
Oh, that's the time it was me, Madia, Aubrey.
Right.
And we went to Manhattan.
Yeah.
And that's when we saw that big monster.
He almost got hit by a car.
Yeah, I almost got hit by a car.
Yes.
It was a huge, like, he was on stilts.
Yeah, he was on stilts.
And he was like 11 feet tall. And it looked so real.
Right.
You know?
And he's right. So I didn't just, when I was in that mode of teaching, and this is why it's so important that you don't just have to mother your kids. You can mother community kids or family children. Like if I was taking Lawrence to the museum, if he had a best friend, he was going too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if, you know, his sister was going as well, you know what I mean? So it was important that we are available. So I think that if, you know, if the parents can listen tonight, moms, that if you can just make yourself more available to kids, because like, I love what you said, time is a currency.
Yeah, time is a currency that we spend that we can never get back.
That you can never get back. So all of those memories growing up with my kids, you know, and I know all of my kids tell me the same thing. So I'm so thankful that, you know, sometimes you're making sacrifices. Sometimes you think, is this going nowhere? But it does make an impact, because I see a little bit of me in all of their lives. You know what I mean? I was in Mimi's house yesterday for the party, and I knew when I walked into her living room, it was like, take off your shoes. You know? I knew it. And then everybody that tried to walk in, because she wasn't available, because she was hosting, I was like, take off your shoes. I was looking out for her, because I knew she wanted that.
All right, Miss Woods said, hey, this is Eloise Jefferson. Yes, you know, it's you, Miss Woods. How you doing? How you doing?
We know you, girl.
She said, you know what? I think you was a great, great mother, and I think you poured a lot into all your children, and you spent lots and lots of times grooming them for their adulthood. They should be thankful for you every single day.
Thank you, Sister Woods. That mean a lot. She was there. Thank you so much. I need the hand claps for that one.
Need a hand clap?
I need the hand claps for that. Thank you. Thank you. That means a lot. Thank you so much.
That's important, because, you know, at the end of the day, you know, you sacrificed a lot, you know, for us, a lot of things that you maybe wanted to do that you didn't do because you had children and you wanted to be available for us. So I think that was important that you did that.
Yep.
And I think today's society, we as parents in my generation, we don't do that. It's all about me, 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 me. And it's not saying it's a bad thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you need money in today's society to make it. But I think it's like you said, it's a balance.
It's definitely a balance. And like, there's no perfect parent. Like, I mean, he said the good stuff, but I'm sure there's some bad stuff he can say. You know, both my kids are being generous tonight, and thank you so much. But I am an open book when it comes to my kids, and so I'm very transparent. So they can tell me the hard stuff too. So there's no perfect parent out here. So if you haven't been spending no time with them, like you said earlier, hey, never too late to start.
Yeah, I mean, the negative things would be, you know, when my mom get mad now, she get mad, you know.
I got that. Listen, I got the little Panamanian blood flowing through me. I blame it on my.
You know, sometimes she'll say certain things to us, and then we'll bust out laughing because it'll be so funny.
It is funny too.
You know, she'll call me something in the midst of, like, I remember one time we was in the garage. And,
oh my God!
You know where I'm going?
I know where you're going.
And we've been out here for a couple of years at this point, but, you know, down here you got palmetto bugs, and
AKA
they fly.
big roach.
They're big roaches that fly. And we was in the garage doing something, and one had flew in the garage, and he was like, "Kill it!" And if you know me, y'all know I can't do bugs. I don't want to even kill them. I can't even smack a roach. He's like, kill it, and I was like, no. And
Oh my God.
you called me something.
Ooh, I know. Listen, I don't want to have to use the beep word.
You called me something, and like when you said that, I was like, now why would you say that to me?
You did. You did. You said, Mom, you going too far?
I said, you going too far. And I was a kid. I was young. I was like, you going too far now.
Yes, he was like, you're going too far. I was so angry because I'm thinking I'm in the garage with my son, and he's in here, and he's raised with African fathers that ain't scared of nothing, right? I mean, can you imagine?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But yeah, that was terrible. I'm sorry, but all my kids can probably say that when I get angry, boy.
Yeah, when she get angry, it's over with.
It's over with. It takes a long time for it to happen, though.
Yeah, it does. Just don't make her upset. She don't give you warnings and be like, all right, enough. I think that's where it comes from. I'll be like, all right now, enough. This is your warning, Too many of our rights and enoughs, and we're going to snap.
Yes,
You're going to snap, crackle, and pop,
Yes.
But,
it's so true.
But I think growing up, I wished I would have learned more about money, finances.
Right, okay.
Credit, because
oh, yeah, that's good.
the men in my family, they would tell me, I remember one of my uncles told me.
One of your uncles?
I think this is why it's so important that, we had the blueprint for the kids growing up. I never forget, Sharonda was pregnant with Aaliyah one time. And this is a funny story. And I had just got an All South bank account.
Oh, man, okay.
Because I had just, I was going to the Army. Remember that?
Yes.
And her whole family was in town, the Sharonda's family. And back then, the restaurant was Ruby Tuesday.
Okay.
Remember that one?
I didn't even think God it was a Steak 48.
Right. And I never forget, like, I had no money.
Oh, man.
Right. And I had overdraft protection on my debit card.
Right.
Overdraft, I had like $500 overdraft protection.
Oh, I remember this story.
So, like, if you spend $1, you got to spend $35 of an overdraft fee. You know what I'm saying? And I was calling like all my friends. I'm like, bro, I need $20 because I'm going.
More than that, right?
But back then, that was
Okay.
suffice. You know what I'm saying? I need $20 because I need to be able to pay for my food or Sharonda's food, or maybe I won't eat and I'll just pay for her food.
Right.
And all my friends were like, I got the money. I called my uncle. He was like,
Don't mention no names.
I ain't mention no names.
Several uncles.
I was like, yo, I need some money, man. He was like, don't you got an all South account? I was like, yeah. He was like, don't you got overdraft protection? I was like, yeah. He said, how much is it? I said, $500. He said, well, you got $500 then.
Oh, man.
I said, you know what? You're right.
Oh, my goodness. That's
when
right.
I went to Burlington, I bought Aaliyah all these baby clothes.
Oh, man.
We went to Ruby Tuesdays. I paid for me and Sharonda's food. I was buying all kind of stuff.
You got beside yourself.
I got beside my stuff, but I had to pay for that in 2024 when I bought my truck.
Wow.
I needed All South to finance my car because it was giving me a 2%. I'm sorry, 2023.
Right.
It's giving a 2% interest rate. And it was like, you got an overdraft fee of like $700.
Oh, man.
You got to pay that before you get this loan. And I was like, God.
Came back to haunt you.
Almost 14 years later.
Wow.
So I paid it and got my 2% interest rate on my truck. But,
right.
But the
Bad
point
advice.
I'm making, bad advice.
Right. Bad advice.
My uncle told me, you got an overdraft fee of $500? Well, Negro, you got $500.
And he's like, okay.
I was like, okay, you're right.
Right.
So I think it's important that we,
teach finances and understand.
Teach finances, teach credit, because, man, did I mess up my credit? I didn't have bad credit, good credit, good credit. And just not understanding at a younger age, you think when you get $15,000, $20,000 in a credit card, that's free money.
Right.
And
right.
It's not. You got to pay that stuff back.
And that's such a good story. I love that story. So I wanted to say that I want to encourage people tonight to know that we are forever learning.
Oh yeah.
So and no matter how old we are forever learning. So I just feel impressed to say that one of the things I know I talked to you about, K Priest, was calling you K Priest.
No, that's fine.
That's his middle name. But either way.
Middle name.
one of the things I said I always wanted to do was start a school to teach kids etiquette and things like that. You know what I mean? Because there's so many things that there's so many children who don't even know how to eat at a table.
Mm-hmm.
So there's just something. So always be looking around.
Yeah, smacking with your mouth open.
Yeah, arms on your elbows on the
Yeah,
table.
elbows on the
Don't know a
table.
salad, salad fork from a regular fork. There's just so many things that we could teach children all around us so we can ever be teaching kids. So I don't ever want to stop teaching.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to stop. My baby's 19 years old, but heck, I'm still teaching him too.
Right. It's so crazy. How long have we been on here? Oh wow.
I don't know. How long have you been up here?
Almost 40 minutes.
Okay.
So listen, we're gonna do a hard stop, right? Because we don't want to be on here too long. I got so much notes left.
Me too.
I want to do a part 2. Let's do a part 2 to this.
Okay. Anybody, can we at least look at the comments before we go?
Yeah, I read them. I read them.
Okay.
So we're gonna do a part 2 to this because I really enjoyed this, and I got some nuggets that I want to drop. Now, I don't want to rush through this. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to be on here too long with y'all. I want to respect y'all time, and then B, I promised the kids that we put the Christmas tree up.
Oh,
we're late.
man.
I know. People was like, that tree should have been up during Thanksgiving.
People put the trees up early now. After all that
the
work,
tree,
they
the
put
tree
them up
goes,
early
The tree
now.
goes up, after freaking
Halloween.
Halloween.
Yeah.
I'm just not putting my tree up tonight. So I told Keela and them we're gonna do the tree. So they probably texting me now saying, "Daddy, come on." So
You want to keep your word.
I want
It's
to keep
important.
my word. I want to be intentional, right?
That's
Talk about
right.
intentions. I want to be
Time.
intentional. Time.
Time.
I want to be intentional and talk about time.
Okay.
So
That's important. I do want to say one thing. I
Yeah.
want to encourage moms and dads to take this little nuggets that we talked about tonight on this podcast, walking against the current. Don't forget it, and spend more time with your kids, even if it's just a hug, a kiss, or an encouraging word. And it's not, if you have a child that's 55 years old, don't feel like that child is too old to say, "Hey, if I made a mistake, if I made an error," it's never too late to say sorry, even though sometimes that's the hardest thing to say. And it's never too late to get it right. Because as long as you got breath in your body, you can get it right.
that's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
So
listen,
say sorry if you have to say sorry, and give hugs if you need to get hugs.
Apologize, forgive,
Yes.
love,
Love.
walk in love, walk in
Yes.
peace.
Joy.
Because if nothing else, hugging my grandma, aunt, and cousin, and then 30 minutes later, they get into a car accident.
Car flipped upside
The
down.
car flipped upside down. Literally, 30 minutes later was an eye opener. Like, wow, you
How
could
fast.
be here today and gone today.
Right.
Not here today, gone tomorrow. You could be here today and gone today.
Right.
And it just really was an eye opener for me to really, again, walk in love, be present with people, be intentional, and just give people that time and energy and space. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Because we didn't even talk about tonight about Thanksgiving. I mean, how everybody's dinners went and family time went. So we definitely want to come back.
She said, "Yes, put the tree up. That's a good thing. The kids love, and you and your wife will love it too." Yes. Oh, I gotta buy me some eggnog. I love eggnog, y'all, but it don't love me. I gotta buy the lactose version.
I saw it today, and I picked it up and put it back down.
You gotta buy the pet one though.
Yeah.
You gotta buy the pet one with the little Santa
So
Claus.
creamy. It's so good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so good. But listen, y'all, we love y'all. Thank y'all for watching, tuning in. Until next time, we'll be back on here
Part
next
2.
Monday, part 2. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, and share. Let's get the word out there.
Yes.
All right.
Peace.
Peace. Love y'all.
Love you so much. Put our little music on. Yeah.
Thank y'all.
Thank you so much.